Hello, viewers. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're watching. This is coming to you from DCT. We have in our midst one of the finest priests of Okibo Diocese, Reverend Father Dr. Bernard Okafor. He's here to clarify us in some of our questions concerning psychology and counseling. And it has to do with everybody, both priests, lay faithful, marriage life. So, Father, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Father, please, one of our questions states that is what advanced psychological effects has loneliness on the 21st century priest, and what pragmatic ways could be used to curb these issues among priests?
Well, these days we talk about loneliness, but I think loneliness doesn't affect much the priests of our own area. But I mean the priests of Nigeria or even Africa. But outside this country, it affects them so much, the loneliness, because of the individualistic way of living. But for us, we are family oriented. And since we are family oriented, then it also affects us priests. So we interact with each other. Like you find out that some priests will visit one of the other priests, and from time to time you see two priests or three priests visiting each other and gathering and talking. So that helps so much. But overseas, that's a problem where you see that a lot of priests are alone in the rectory, then they're alone in the rectory, and the nature pros vacuum. And when they're alone in the rectory, anything can happen. Idleness is the devil's for sure. So when a person is alone, day in, day out, no one visits, no one interacts with the person, it affects the person psychologically. And that is where a lot of them can start thinking about something abnormal. But for us, especially in Africa and in Nigeria, you see that we interact with each other. And more still, when the white priests were around, they do that a lot. Because on Sunday, after benediction, you see those around the area may decide to come together and pass the night in one of the priest's house. They will be there, they take their supper, they chat, discuss, and laugh till they break. And that even attracted some people to the priesthood because they see them as people who are together, people who love each other, people who are always together like a family. So that affects them so much. And so this is what we borrowed from. And mostly because of our individual, our own culture that is family oriented. So I think for us priests here, we are not so much affected by this loneliness. But for those who are affected by loneliness, what we can do is to find ways of overcoming this loneliness. Like some are into music, listening to music, playing music. Some are into games. They watch movies, they will watch football, they watch other games. And some are into reading. They read some books, read some novels. Like personally, I hardly feel lonely. I can stay in the house for 2 days. I have a lot to do. I have my books to read. I have movies to watch. I have other things to games to play. So I can hardly feel lonely. And I feel that people, when they do this, it will help them not to feel lonely.
All right, thank you. The Holy Office speaks of psychological assessment of the candidates to the priesthood. Could you throw more light on the rudimentary practice of psychological tests for candidates to the priesthood in general and with particular reference to the Okigwe Diocese, with emphasis on the
I don't very much understand the psychological application they are using. Yes, it's good to examine or to evaluate the psychological position of any candidate for the priesthood. But the method they're using is what I don't know. Because I hear occasionally where they say they invited some people to come and they view them psychologically. This is not something you can do in a day. This is something that you can observe. Because when you want to observe a person psychologically, you observe the person's behavior, you observe the person's attitude, you observe the person's speech and everything. So I feel that every seminary should have a psychologist or a counselor to be there, resident there, as one of the formators.
and ongoing information.
Ongoing formation, I say a formator. So you'll be there, you watch there. Like when I was in the North in St. Abbas Institute, I'm one of the counselors. I'm a counselor there. Not only am I a lecturer, but I'm also a counselor. And I have my office as a counselor. Now, students will come, and I'll be able to check the students and the attitude and everything. So this should be supposed to be an ongoing formation, not something in a day. Just come and then examine the students, and then you are checking them psychologically. I don't know the tests they're using and how they are coming up with the answers. Honestly, I'm confused about that. So it is something good, it's something that is worth doing, but the method is what I don't know.
So what method are you suggesting now?
The method I'm suggesting is it is something that should be ongoing so that a psychologist or a counselor is already a member of the staff.
Staff, okay.
So in that, then that person should be able to watch the seminarians and then be able to know. They have to and then interact with them from time to time, have conferences with them. Just like we have the spiritual director.
Okay.
The spiritual director sees to the spiritual aspect and then watch them, have a meeting with them. Spiritual direction is not something you do just in a day.
Yes.
But it's some ongoing formation from your first year until you finish. You have directions from time, even in every semester, you have direction, you have time for direction. This is what is supposed to be done in psychology. Psychologists will have to be there to watch and then to direct. And even when we are playing games, the psychologist is supposed to be there to watch. Then when you are eating, the psychologist is there to watch. Everything can watch.
You know, Father, we are one student.
Yeah.
That word psychological test
Mm-hmm.
affects seminarians a lot because
Yeah.
it's either they will be scared of you,
Mm-hmm.
the person in charge of psychology,
Mm-hmm.
or they will not be telling you the truth.
Yes.
So how can the psychology teacher in that school handle this type of issues with seminarians?
Good. That is what I'm saying. That if you are there just to watch them, if you are there to call them, to examine them on this and that, they will be afraid. Even not only students, even other people, they are afraid of psychologists
Okay.
because they feel that from the word psychology, coming from the Greek word psych and logos, that's mind and then study of the mind. They feel that you look at the person and know what the person has in mind. No, it doesn't follow. We don't just look at you and see what know what you have in mind. Rather, we watch from your actions. So, you see, when you come once a while to examine students, they are afraid.
Okay.
But when you are part of them, you interact with them, you are every day with them. So, just like we have formators, the formators also examine the students. But they are not always afraid of them. But they know that there are people who are supposed to decide their vocation. So they are not always afraid of. So if the psychologist is just one of them and then interacts with them without even questioning them, so by observance, you can be able to get more of that.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. Since the introduction of this test, do you think the product have met its expectation?
I doubt. I doubt it has met that. Because you see that some of our priests are psychologically sick. And you see that these people pass through the seminar and they have this psychological test. Like you said, people are afraid when they hear about the psychologist. So when they come, they pretend. And with preachers you ask, they know how to answer the questions. So I don't think the objective is being met. Because otherwise, we will not be having those who are psychologically sick. So that if we had as a sort of not laying that or using the method we're using, I don't think we will be able to succeed, especially in knowing the students, their attitude, their behavior, and everything. Because to know the attitude of a person, one, you observe the person. Observation is very important. Then you watch the action of the person. Then you watch even the speech of the person. And then you reason how the person reasons, how the person talks, and everything. Even during games.
Father, I think that the issue here is that every seminarian in the seminar has it at the back of his mind that he has gone to the seminary to become a priest.
Yes.
And there is this our Igbo problem that we suffer. Father.
Yes.
Your parents are already answering my father and and for you wouldn't want to, bring shame to your family.
Yeah.
Now, all you think of is how to move on.
Okay.
Now, this psychological issue,
Mm-hmm.
if they posit a psychological, it means that it's either they want to expel you. And I think this is the reason why some will lie just to pass. But if it will be made known to them that it has nothing to do with their going or not going,
Mm-hmm.
then they should just go for the test so that there will be a balanced priest. I think it will go a long way to help us.
Now, look at you are talking about going for test. I'm not talking about going for test. I'm talking about like you have teachers
Okay.
in the school, and these teachers are meant to teach the students. Not every student will pass, but the teachers are there to teach so that you will pass. So, and then while the teacher is teaching, you'll be using different methods to teach.
Okay.
So, in the same way, if a psychologist is there to do the work, he's not there just to examine the students, but he's also there to help the students. For instance, you know that occasionally, like the spiritual director has spiritual conference.
Yes, yes.
That's why the students are not so much afraid of spiritual director, because the spiritual director can talk with you one-on-one. He will have spiritual conference. Then you are free to ask questions. He can give you directions on how to do this or how to do this. This is what the psychologist is supposed to do. So the psychologist is supposed to have direction. I am expecting in our seminaries to have psychological conferences, psychological seminars. So in these psychological seminars, then you'll be able to help the seminarians to explain to them on the way, on other issues. So that when you dispose them, and they'll be free to discuss with you about some issues. Some of them enter into some problems because they're afraid.
Yes.
But when you dispose them, when they're free to ask questions and everything, you see that they'll be relaxed. They'll be relaxed. So it's a question of, if you notice a person, not just, they're not there to expel,
Okay.
they are there to help them. So if you notice how a person, you tell the person, why did you do this, or this is this, don't do this or this. And then when you have your conferences, you tell them, this action indicates this, because they don't know.
Yes.
So that to make them to relax and know that, okay, when they're doing this, this is what it implies. Like, when we entered the junior seminary,
Okay.
our rector was then led Bishop Ochai. Bishop Ochai studied psychology, and he applied it so much, and it helped us so much. And not only did we pass through the seminary, but we gathered a lot. We were more balanced. Because during the conferences, he'd be putting in certain things. Because there are certain things he told us, which we hold firm till tomorrow. For instance, he told us, when you are angry, don't write.
Okay.
Even though you may be angry with someone, it's better you go and talk to the person than writing it. Because when you write it in annoyance, tomorrow you will regret it. Then, and he said, when you're angry, don't speak. It's better you close your mouth. Because you may say something you will regret later. And he applied that because sometimes he may come for conference, there may be some issues that may come up, he will be annoyed. What will he do? He'll just get up, take his book and go away. And every place is quiet. He will leave. Every place is quiet. Next time that issue will then be resolved. Because if he insists or continues that conference, he may expel half of the students. So what will he just quietly leaves? So this is what I'm saying. The psychologist will then help the student by telling them some of these issues. And even when people become priests, a lot of them have problems which they should have overcome while they were in the seminary.
Well, thank you, Father. Would you consider these tests only for candidates, or should it be an ongoing procedure, even priests?
Sure, it's supposed to be an ongoing thing. Because psychology is psychology for life. I taught psychology and counseling in St. Albert's Institute in Coventry. And I told my students that this is a lesson for life. I'm not teaching you that so that you may pass the exams or part of the curriculum, but I am teaching you this so that you will have it throughout your whole life. Then, as priests, like I said, you should be having some psychological conferences, and that will help us. Because as I've said, that a lot of our priests are psychologically sick. Being psychologically sick doesn't mean that you are mad. No. So, like a person, there are some people who are sadists, but they don't know that.
Okay.
And then there are some people, even the way they are, it is difficult for you, even in a diocese, difficult to post a person to death. There are
Yes.
people, every diocese should have a psychologist and a counselor. Every diocese should have that to help the bishop. And in helping the bishop, then we have to help the bishop to know that one, not every priest is supposed to be in a parish.
Okay.
Not every priest is supposed to have an assistant.
Okay.
Not every priest is supposed to live together with others.
Okay.
Because we have our individualities. We have our individualities. So if a priest is not supposed to be in the parish and you put him in the parish, then the parishioners will suffer. There are some priests who are meant to be in the school. Put them in the parishioners will suffer. Then there are some priests who cannot help because when you're sending an assistant priest, the assistant priest is supposed to learn from them. But there are some assistants who can't even learn, who are supposed to they want to teach the parish priest. So if you give them, make the person assistant to be under that person, it doesn't follow. So that's what these are the things you have to examine. And knowing fully whether those things apply. Then not every priest can work in every parish. There are some priests who can't work in some certain parishes. So these are the things we have to examine. And when you do that, then it's a question of putting a round peg in a round hole. But when you don't examine these things, then place every priest anywhere. Put any priest as assistant to any person. Then there is problem.
Okay, Father, you talked about priests being psychologically sick. So what do you think should be done, or how can we help this priest? And what is the solution to it?
Okay. You see, when we talk about some priests being psychologically sick, we are talking about some priests from their behavior. It's not an ideal anyway, let me use the word. But sometimes it's not their fault. Certain things are done that triggers that up.
Okay.
You see, like the test being conducted for the seminarians. I don't know the type of test they're using or the method of psychology they're using, whether they're using the Sigmund Freud psychoanalytic method or any other one. But personally, if I'm to say, I prefer Alfred Adler's individual psychology, because Alfred Adler's individual psychology is more of educationally based. Then, because where he talks about attitude of various people, some who are attention seekers, some who are revenge seekers, some who are negligent, and some who are not bothered about anything.
Okay.
So, and there are certain things that cause that. And I feel that this one also affects even our priests, because they're product of the family. For instance, if you are from a family that is where you receive the strict discipline. So the strict discipline where even if you have done something great, it's not even much recognized, and then you just look down and everything, it has psychological implication on the person. The person will feel that whatever I do doesn't mean much. So the person doesn't have to struggle more. Everything the person does is nothing. So you see that life, the person will continue to give that life. And when the person is even not there, it still affects him. So whatever he's doing, he feels that except is complimented. Then he said, no, even my father did not compliment him, so nothing.
And he cannot compliment
And he
others.
cannot compliment others. So it affects him. Now you have those who are attention seekers.
Okay.
These are attention seekers. These are the people, they do things so that people will see them and praise them and everything. These are people who become psychopaths. And they only do things not because they are doing it because they want to do it, but they are doing it for people to see. And those people have problems, especially in the ministry. Because these are the people who will not even care about those that are staying with them. They will be, when you see them outside, they will do that. Thank you. Those who call Akanamanama, then they will, before the practitioners or before any they present themselves as very good people. But those who are living with them
are dying.
So that is it. Then we have those who are we call revenge seekers.
Okay.
These are the people who have been mistreated and maltreated. Those who have been mistreated and maltreated think that the whole world is against them. And you also see some of them in the priesthood. These are the people who are always complaining. They are complaining about the bishop, they are complaining about the fellow priest, they are complaining about the parishioners, and you see that these people, then whatever they feel that these people have, the word is not treating them well. Uh-huh. And then you have those who are over pampered back home. Those who are over pampered, then they will expect every person to take care of them. So they will expect everything to be done for them. Even when they're in a parish, they even tell the parishioners to come and get the person who is washing their sultans and pay for it. So now, because they have been over pampered, so these things has happened. And that's what I'm saying, that if in the seminary we have the psychologists, conferences to be had, and these things are supposed to be ironed out so that they will know. Otherwise, you see that these people will play out when they get to them. And then when they are in the parishes, you see the problem will arise. Now, another aspect that let me bring out to our diocese, we can come to observe in our diocese. And then, like you asked me to, particular reference to Akiba diocese. Akiba diocese is not too different from any other diocese. But there are few things I do observe. I don't know whether it's oversight or omission or whatever it is. But I am thinking in that direction from my own perspective, at least from my own area of specialization. It affects our priests. The seminary is supposed to be a place of formation. And when priests are formed, or when seminarians are formed, and eventually they become priests, then that affects them in their life as priests. Therefore, proper care should be taken in the training of our seminarians. And emphasis should be laid on those things that are more important than necessary. Now, you see that sometimes I hear some people, they accuse, here in the diocese, you see every priest is said to be looking for money. And then if you're in a parish, oh, you're looking for money, everything. And now, even when a priest visits another priest, say that every parishioner here in the diocese will say, oh, this one that has come, I wonder what is coming from. What type of palliation are we going to do today? The preaching is not being listened to. The mass is not being listened to. All they are waiting for is at the end of the mass. Then when he says, now this is the time he will tell us why he has come. And then so they tell me that every priest is looking for money, looking for money. And I feel that these things should also be factored in our training. I have said it before and I've written about it. I don't see why our seminary should be charging more than those in other secondary schools. I've thought about it, and there's some people try to defend it. I'm talking about the effect it will have. I have my siblings. I'm going to school with my siblings. I have two other siblings. And the two of them, two of them went to other secondary schools. And we have taken our WAEC. Others are paying maybe 30,000 for WAEC. And I'm paying 42,000 for WAEC. And they're telling me, I'm in the seminary, I'm paying 42, and others are paying 30. What do you think about that? Then what do you expect them to say? Now, tomorrow, that affects them. What do you expect them to behave? Now, you see that there's something I observed last time. We are in the seminary, we have been taught, just like we have been taught to do adoration in the seminary. But when some people come, they do adoration in a different way altogether. You know that now what you are doing is different from what you are being taught. What you are being taught. And we expect you to apply what have been taught in the seminary. But there are certain things we can do in the seminary which they may apply in the parish, which wouldn't be like. For instance, we know that Thanksgiving ceremony is time when people come for Thanksgiving, whatever they have. Granted that you may suggest that you cannot not just with a flour and the yam that you can come with. If you want to come with a crate of malt, you are free. If you want to come in, you can talk about it, that you can come with anything. But you don't mandate people to come with this and this. So when seminarians are mandated to come for Thanksgiving, come with this, list out the things they don't have to come with Thanksgiving. What they expect of them when they become priests? When they go to the parish, then they will be telling the parishioners what they're going to get. and tomorrow we start blaming them. But that's what they learned in the seminary. So now, okay, when people are coming for Thanksgiving, they just come with whatever they have. The church orders will take it from them and everything. But why in the seminary we take it and we record whatever they have come with? We list whatever they have come, record it against their names, whatever they have come with. Then, when the seminarian has said that I'm mandated to come with this, and even record is taken of what I brought. When the person becomes a priest, what happens? Then the person can even tell the parishioners, why are you getting it? You should get this. And if you don't get this, then what happens? So these are the things that affect. Tomorrow we talk about them looking for money, but this is some of the things that happen in the seminary and shouldn't. So again, even the idea of the priest being the people to ask for the money, that I feel is not ideal. The priest is supposed to celebrate the mass while others do that. So, but when you ask the priest to return tomorrow, they say it's priest that is looking for money. And so some of these things affect the priest. And in our diocese, when people are looking for parish, even though the priest is supposed to, the priest has a lot to do in working for the parish. If it left to me, I will say it's better those who want to get a parish, while they are in the mother parish, let them start building with the parish priest. Build the parish house and build everything. Because that has affected most of our priests. Because most of our priests who are in parishes building, when they get there, then they have to seek for money to build the parish, and so pastoral work is not going on. They're more interested in getting that, and the pastoral work suffers. And tomorrow they see us as people who are just seeking for money, and the pastoral work is not going on. But you notice that for sure, the pastoral work is not going on. But you see that in some other dioceses, when a new parish is supposed to become, they're supposed to come from the mother parish, and let them work with the parish priest, and from the mother parish, let them work it out. So that when that is established, the house is built and everything. Then when the priest comes, then the priest has to face the pastoral work. So this is what I feel should be done.